Yeah, I'm going to take it off in a second before I hear from the copyright police, but you are hearing... Do some of you recognize that? That was enough. If you know that piece of music, that's all. That was enough. You know that was Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. I am now reviewing Adam Minkoff's Till the End, My Dear, arrangements of Stravinsky. Adam Minkoff sent this to me after I got a message from him on Facebook explaining that he had just put this together, and judging by what he's seen of my channel, he thought he should send me a copy. Adam, you're absolutely right. This is exactly what I like. Now let me kind of give some background on me. As a kid of maybe 7 or 8 years old is when I was first introduced to the music of Stravinsky through the Rite of Spring. I believe it was the Leonard Bernstein interpretation. My older brother James had checked the album out from the library. It was something that my older brother, sister, and I did. My parents encouraged it. They introduced us to a lot of music at a young age, and so we were listening to the classics and stuff already. And this piece of music intrigued, I can say us, because I remember my brother's reaction and my sister Stephanie. Do you remember Stephanie? Mainly I remember James's. We were stunned. It was a little scary. The Rite of Spring, this dance of life, was very percussive and dark and compelling. And so I grew to love the Rite of Spring. And this is really a wonderful piece of work here. See if I can get a little bit of that glare off. Adam explains in his notes here that he has transcribed the music the music of Stravinsky by ear, which is no mean feat, which means to say that he wrote it out from memory, what he heard. And it's not just the Rite of Spring. Everything on here is Stravinsky compositions. This is dope. It's for a group. It's for a group of, you know, basically like a jazz band ensemble. And this really works. It really works in that his approach to, man, how do I put this? You know, Adam has contemporized or brought to the modern sound without using gadgets, but merely through his arrangements and through the brilliance of his muscle memory. He's made the Rites of Spring sound modern. It always has, but there's something Frank Zappa-like about the horn arrangements, but it doesn't sound like Zappa. I think what I'm trying to say is there's a bite and a cut to the horn arrangements. They cut through. Man, I got to eat more greens. I've been noticing that lately. I have difficulty with my memory and vocabulary sometimes, and maybe I just need to eat some more green vegetables. Maybe that'll help. In looking up Adam, because I like to find out, do I have anything by people when they send me stuff, you know, and they have a background. I don't have anything on record by Adam, but I see that he's done a lot of work. And I said recently, someone that you all will recognize is Dweezil Zappa, Frank Zappa's son. Adam has been touring with Dweezil Zappa. He's an accomplished musician. I like this really well, and I want to highly recommend it. It's just what is needed. Intelligent music that has an edge. I don't know how else to put it. When you hear it, I think you'll hear what I mean. I love the packaging on this too. Nice job, nice graphics. Love that color scheme. Thank you, Adam, and I highly recommend this. I don't know what else to say because, again, life is just hurtling ahead at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I do try to listen to music because it sustains me. but I also try to make music because it sustains me. But life is also busy. Now I want to share some more records because sure enough, something has happened that tends to happen. You know, I have an addictive personality, and I love music, and I love records, and I love acquiring them. And once you get started, it's hard to stop. So I'm at the point where I have, you know, okay, now I have to look at my money. It's like, okay, I did a big trade, and I got some good stuff there. But then last weekend, Joe Benson, who is someone I'm familiar with, decides to have a sale because he's possibly going to move and stay with the Tibetan Buddhist monks from the Gaden Shartsa monastery who tour the United States. He's their driver. Anyway, Joe's an astute record collector. I tried to not go to his sale. I actually didn't go to the sale day. And then he had an extra day, and he got a hold of me and said, I have something I know you want. I'll give you a good price on it. I said, it has to be in good shape. And he's right. So I need to sell. Hey, y'all, if you don't mind me being really upfront, sales have really slowed down. I got plenty of these. Would you please buy one? It's on Bandcamp now, too. If you need to buy it through Bandcamp, you can. I'll leave the link below. I think some people prefer to buy through Bandcamp, even though when they buy through Bandcamp, the order still comes to me, and I'm the one who fills the order. No one else does. It's me. But if psychologically it makes it, you like the idea of going through that service, buy the CD now. This is World is Burning is now on Bandcamp, and you can listen to the whole thing there. But to get back to the other story, I've been wanting a copy of this album since it came out in the 70s. Affinity with Linda Hoyle on vocals. And I'm happy to say that, you know, I've had this music on tape and burned CD forever, so I know the music and I love this album, and it does live up to the hype for me. It has a song in here that I absolutely love, which is Annette Peacock's Mr. Joy. I like the version on here the best. It's been covered by a few different folks. I've wanted this album since it came out in the 70s, but as a kid, and because of our finances, I could not afford to buy brand new records, hardly ever. So I had to buy records as cutouts. When records would overstock, when they'd make an album and it wouldn't sell a certain number, it would be taken out of distribution and sold as overstock, and they'd be called cutouts, and you could buy them at a bargain. However, Affinity was one of those on the higher end of the cutout price line always. So whenever I was, as a kid, buying cutouts, this was always out of my grasp because and it was partially psychological. I'd always be buying the cheaper ones, trying to get more bang for my buck, trying to get more records to hear because I didn't know what the records were. I just wanted to hear them all. This is just fantastic. The most collectible version is the English Vertigo Swirl version. Those can go for upwards of $500. Of course, I like the Vertigo label and would have loved to have had one on that. But this is the US version on Paramount. It's in great shape. It's got a visual mar. You know how some records will have a mar, but it plays great. But that mar will take the price value down. So that's why Joe was able to give this to me at a price that I could finally afford. And I've played it several times already. This album definitely lives up to it. I'm not disappointed. There have definitely been records that I've wanted and coveted. And when I finally got them, they were a disappointment. If I can spot it real quick, I'll show one. Yeah, here's one. Here's another one, for example, that originally is on the Vertigo label. And I would like to just to have the item, not for the music now. I would still like to have Still Life, an original on Vertigo, just to have it. Now, this cover has intrigued me for the longest. I just love that image. And then when you fold the cutout, when you fold the gatefold out, that's quite an image. That's a strong, strong image. Unfortunately, this album is not strong. I've tried and tried and tried and tried, and this album, the best thing about this album is the cover. So that was one when I finally was able to get a copy. It's in a Karma reissue, but I finally got one and played it. I'd heard it online already, but playing the records, see how that looks like a hat when I, that's why I move it. It looks like I got a fez. The experience of playing records is different. It is. It is. It is. Here's an album I've had for a while, but I pulled it to take over to Hugo's. We never played it, but I took it home and played it freshly. My God, what a fantastic album! What an amazing, spirited composer and performer, Jorge Ben. Força Bruta, is that how you say that? He's the man that wrote the huge hit that broke Brazilian music in America, Mas Que Nada. It was a big hit by Sergio Mendes. Oh man, this album is so, so wonderful. I do not speak Portuguese. I'm missing a lot, but I'm catching it in spirit. I like that about music. I like that about music. So when I bought that Affinity, Joe had more. So I spent more than I could afford, okay? I'm just being upfront, but I'll survive it. And again, this is my joy. This is what I enjoy, and I'm sharing it with you. I'm not out spending money on other stuff. I'm maintaining my home, and when I can afford it, I buy a record. This was there, but I got him to sell it to me for only $1. But this is Panama Limited Jug Band. It's on the Harvest label. It was released in 1969. The Harvest label came out, if I understand correctly, to try to pick up on the hippie thing and to rival Vertigo Records possibly, or was it another label? But anyway, Harvest put out a lot of interesting records. This musically is not something I'm really into. It's jug band blues, produced by the famous DJ who's passed on, John Peel. The record is really, you can see the record's trashed, okay? But it's on Harvest, and I never see this record. So I was really happy that Joe would let me have it for $1. And for all the reasons I just mentioned besides the music, I'm really happy to have this in my collection this day. This day that I'm living today, this is in my collection. Been looking at it since it came out in this '69. Looking cool. It's not what I like, but I have it. And that's part of the joy of doing this. It's something to do, you know. I could be racing cars. I could be doing all kinds of things, you know. People do all kinds of things that they enjoy. I enjoy this. Okay. Once again, and if I'm saying it too much, I'll suffer the consequences, but I don't have any other way of letting you know. The World is Burning is for sale. I could really use some sales right now. I ain't gonna lie. Okay? It's on Bandcamp if you don't want to buy it directly through my blogspot. I'll leave both links below the video. Have a great day.